This is a poem, I think, of political hope. Kissinger at the Louvre, 3 drafts. 1. Kissinger in black tie shuffles to the town car, idling at the museum complex edge, between where the glum pay pyramid rises and the gardens begin. Is that, I say, and yes, says Jim, baby in his arms, me shoving the empty stroller to get home by nap time. Nobody notices, clicking at each other through camera phones. Kissinger looking matchlessly neat, clean, ugly, and dressed by servants. His driver's at the door, arms stretched wide as in a fish this big, tall tale, in welcome. The ear-wired bodyguard, hand on Kissinger's gray fur head so it won't scrape the door frame, bends him into the car. If I were a different kind of poet, I'd put Kissinger in front of the raft of the Medusa, blinking at the father weeping for his son, lying dead over his lap as the sails of the ship that will rescue them are sighted on the horizon. And the top man in the spout of survivors waves his ragged undershirt. Or I'd put him gazing reflectively at the death of Sardanapalus, a potentate presiding amid an exorbitance of fabrics over his imminent suicide by fire, slaves bringing in order of importance, horses, gems, plate, and favored concubines for slaughter. I'm not that kind of poet. 2. Kissinger totters, befuddled by culpability, luncheon champagne, and dotage. The car eats him. I won't pretend the bodyguard's Vietnamese or Cambodian, though that's the obvious truth in lies move. He's French, that rat-faced, handsome, smoked-out look, and doesn't care merde for history. He makes the old man bow, same move with which the beat cop, our public servant, submits the petty criminal to the patrol car. Same move the anguished teenager got, half protective, half corrective or coercive, half kind, after the arraignment for leaving her newborn to die in a rest stop dumpster. Anybody can understand the girl, and even the purse snatcher. Bodyguard bends Kissinger gently in, portly little Kissinger, gloves his head. Anything hurt will be the hand of the servant. Ecru upholstery with oxblood accents, minibar something like a safe, CNN muted to news crawl, and the anchor's frozen flesh face. The latest assistant, gender irrelevant, busy with a BlackBerry across from him, root beer-colored eyes and preternaturally neat hair of La Belle Ferronnière, keeps the lap desk, emergency magic wand stain remover stick, eyebrow brush, and dossier of opinions in what looks like the football, the nuclear war plan suitcase presidential aides carry at all times, but isn't. 3. The one camera flash as he got in gave Kissinger a headache. As they start for his Avenue du Président Wilson hotel, the Rue de Rivoli sliding by in a haze, he falls uncomfortably asleep to the anodyne glow and murmur, tournez à gauche, of the driver's GPS device. The relieved assistant opens an Imagist anthology. In Osaka, Oslo, or Wasilla, Alaska, some weeks later, a woman at her kitchen table uploads Paris vacation photos to her laptop. Who's that behind me? A dark figure. He looks familiar. How should I know, says her husband. I'm trying to get baby to eat more potato. Oh well, I look fat in it, she says, and deletes. Thank you.
Dear Jip, there are some things which should be writ before you and I are married. Things we've talked over before, most of them. You must know again my reluctance to marry, my feeling that I shatter thereby chances in work, which means most to me. I feel the move just now as foolish as anything I could do. I know there may be compensation, but have no heart to look ahead. On our life together, I want you to understand that I shall hold you to no medieval code of faithfulness to me, nor shall I consider myself bound to you similarly. If we can be honest, I think the difficulties which may arise can best be avoided, should you or I become interested deeply, or in passing, in anyone else. Please let us not interfere with the other's work or play, nor let the world see our private joys and disagreements. In this connection, I may need to go keep some place where I can be myself now and then, for I cannot guarantee to endure at all times the confinement of even an attractive cage. I must exact one cruel promise from you, and that is that you will let me go in a year if we find no happiness together. I will try to do my best in every way and give you that part of me you know and seem to want. Meeley. We'll break this steel tether, it's kept us here so long. All those skyless nights we counted our dreams of flight. Now we're pulling hard, feel the threads unfurl. Now we're leaving ground, and we run, leap, fly past the runway. We roll, climb, cut through the air, our dial spinning fast. We don't know what they say. We're flying further, faster towards the horizon. It's a clear sky, higher than we've ever known. It's higher than the human eye. And now we're riding the myth of our last destination. Soon everyone will know. We're cutting it up and bringing it with us. We'll feed the pieces to the birds and they'll turn to paper. And when we're lost, we'll be everywhere. You will find us everywhere. We're pressing the shutter of our last portrait. Soon even you will know our faces. We're cutting them up and bringing them with us so we can pour them into the magnificent clouds. And they'll grow to mountains. And we'll be climbers. And when thunder shakes the horizon, you'll know that we exist. We're peeling the rind of our last orange. Soon we may be forgotten, but we're cutting it up and eating greedily, hand over hand. We wipe the juice on our thighs. Someday, you will dig here. Our compass catches the sun, and now we're golden sand. We spill through your fingers. We catch in the wind. I'll pray to that bird. Her golden beak stings like crystal sand the way it razor cuts the air. Oh, beautiful bird, you are just what I needed. This unending thirst flooded over, your feathers sliding across my chest so softly. Lightning bolts, that's what they'll say. That's all I can say now. We're together, beautiful bird, to the very end. I won't tell Jip this is the room that I keep, that you're the company I invite. Let him find out for himself. Let him point his binoculars to the sky. It's only us. Just your golden beak. It's crystal sand. I've made my walls from your feathers, tied them to steel, pulled them taut like rubber, preened them lovingly. I've made my wings from the wood of your tree, sanded them smooth as butter, rounded as flesh. Here is your chair, beautiful bird. We'll pray at the oak as we leave the ground. Whisper incantations into my neck. Guide the plane with your eagle eyes.
Do your propellers still spin? I hear their distant buzz. Not the precision cuts, not the mastery of clouds, but the faint rumble of bees. Worker bees will return to the hive in due time, but your distant hive of paper is covered in my pollen words. Perhaps you lost the scent. They weren't your words, my words to say, but it wasn't your race to win, you know. You took those boards, cut them sharp. You took the sky and made it yours. Bring me back my nectar, sweet pea. Hive cannot be made of paper speculations. We're fueled by facts, not questions.
We won't say the fish flew. That they pierced the air with violence of torpedoes. Mouths pulled open, force of wind. Bodies shedding scales as they match the speed of eagles. Sudden pop of metal, a knife thrower lets go the handle, and the assistant bites her lip. Silver coin slips into waves, fuselage torn by water. Disappearing, descending forever. No, we won't say the fish flew. We won't say the body was found intact. Flight goggles still in place, hands clutching a snapshot, mouths pulled open from an ecstasy of flight. One last nosedive, one last rush of wind and engine grease, before the pop of metal, the red bullseye. Oh, bird of prey, carve your grim palm reading into my hand, your blistered mountains and valleys of cuts. A white-knuckle dive towards Earth, stunt show, trick flyer. Now thank our lucky stars the clouds didn't stretch all the way to the ground. Smash pancake flat, that would give them a thrill. Now pull it higher, draw our incline steeper, make the ground smaller. We're escaping time, we can circle Earth forever. I have seen your eyes at dawn dark with sleep. Take me to new depths. Hold me by the wrist and we'll watch the new day creep, the sun's slow motion crash towards Earth. Spin the shadows into night, Take me, bird of prey, to your breast. Shield my eyes with your wings. Protect me from the terrible spin of earth.
Take these words, 6 inches tall by 6 inches wide, cut them sharp to pieces, and piece them to your plane. Sand them smooth as butter, wipe them clean with oil. You're higher, faster, longer than ever before. You're daring, smooth as butter, light like feathers. Go towards the clouds. Go towards the clouds. Bring us all back your souvenirs. We'll wrap them tight in papers, throw them from the tallest buildings, sing them through the air. Your ace, your Lady Lindy, glamorous sky vamp, subject of ballads, role model to girls. Your Meeley, that distant buzz, the memory we can never remember, the ghost that won't leave. Mistress to the skies, you are now the master. I'll write that down. Now tie this string to your finger and I'll hold the spool. Go, terrific kite, my terrific kite.
Oh, bird of prey, you knew this wouldn't be easy. Take this wood, 6 foot by 6 foot, cut it sharp to pieces, sand them smooth as butter, wipe them clean with oil. Now drive the nails hard, make the corners tight. Wrap it all in wax paper, stiff as a board, and tie a ribbon around it for good luck. You and I, bird of prey, are together now, and this will carry us to our end. When I was young, I thought there were 2 types of men, good and bad. My father and everyone else. Only the good men could smile the way I imagined a good man to smile, the corners of their lips curling up, just enough to reveal the bottom of their flat, square teeth through a face that hadn't been touched by a razor in days. These were the good men. Hard, gentle, good men. As I got older, I noticed more men. There were men who would smile at you as you passed them in the street. These men were lonely men. There were men who would walk in fast, straight lines to wherever they were going. These men did not need anyone. There were men who would sit behind cafe windows reading the news while mindlessly running their finger around the lips of their empty glasses. These men were mysteries to me. The years went by, and I noticed more men. Men who wore leather shoes, men who buttoned every button on their coat, men who bragged, men whose hair always looked wet. And then there were the men who went about their days as though they were always bewildered. Men who looked like they had been lost for a long time, and upon seeing me, knew they had found something from wherever they were before, a small trinket in an empty field, a memory that seemed just out of place. These men had kind faces like the men I once believed in. These men were cautious men. These men would give you everything if you let them. I knew birds, and I knew clouds. I knew the mechanics of wings and the fear of takeoff. I knew the excitement of running and the desire to never return. I knew how to be lost. I am lost as we are speaking right now. These men I came to know filled the cargo of my plane. They weighed down my fuselage and dulled my turns, but I took them everywhere I went. It was the lost, bewildered men that I loved. I allowed them to give everything to me and took nothing from them. But it was the men who bragged who loved me. They loved me as I climbed higher than any pilot before. They relayed these facts and these measurements to their friends as if they had climbed higher into the clouds than any pilot before them. They wrote the articles that the world devoured with pride and excitement. These men loved me and always will, but I could never give anything to them. Nor could I allow them to give anything to me except my famous stories. Well, it's these stories that you know. You were taught to believe these stories when you were young, when there were still good and bad men. And I was taught to tell these stories. I am lost now, and I will never return. Some of you say that I am dead. Sometimes I say that I am dead, but I have not died. I'm as alive as you are right now, and I'm breathing with every part of my chest. I am a lost man now. I'm bewildered by the birds in the sky, by the clouds I once believed were continents, by the bees on their determined journey home. I'm looking for my compass, my pen, my journal. There have been times when I thought I've seen these things, times I thought I caught the familiar glint of my compass glass. I smiled the cautious smile of a bewildered man, unbuttoned my coat, and opened my arms to the sky, ready to give away everything, like I had finally, amazingly, found these things that I'd forgotten somewhere along the way. I thought I knew exactly what manna should taste like, and I expended a good deal of energy and flour and sugar in trying to reproduce it. Needless to say, I never succeeded in manufacturing a passable substitute for the celestial food. That it should be small, white, round muffins, a cross between popover and angel food cake, I was convinced. Perhaps when I give up aviation, I'll attempt production again, for I know that if I could perfect it, there would be an overwhelming demand.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kinei Braithwaite, and I am a proud member of the class of '08. I'm honored to be back here at Swarthmore, and I would like to extend a very special congratulations to Rebecca Chopp. I think it's great that we have a new president, great that it's a woman, and very appropriate, I think, for the way America's going right now. Go change. Before I begin, I would just like to say, I don't know if everybody in the audience knows this, but Bob Gross was the former dean of students here at Swarthmore College, and he had a few immortal words that he imparted on every class during first collection, which is right at the beginning of orientation. And he said, "No matter what you say or do to me, I'm still a worthwhile person." And those words definitely become part of your life when you're at Swarthmore and even afterwards. So they relate right back into my poem. Hope is like Swarthmore. It's a lot of work. It's empowering, inspirational, but it's not easy. And you've got to be crazy to do it. Like the president, Obama is obviously insane. He doesn't exactly have the safest job for a black man, but he does have hope. Hope like a Swati. Hope like continuing to believe despite evidence to the contrary. You are still a worthwhile person, though your grades mock your intelligence. Believing that maybe you deserve some sleep, though it's only 2 a.m. and you have 80 pages left. And so Obama goes on believing. He's hoping for change, bipartisanship, the safety of our troops overseas, hoping for healthcare, the economy, and of course, renewable energy. His insanity is all too clear. See, when Obama said hope, it sounded cute, like a sign saying free puppies. Everybody wanted in on that deal. So simple, so lovable, how can you refuse? Very few can see past the wagging tails to the cold dog walks at the crack of dawn. They want the happy. So when he offered us the free puppies, we said, yes, we can. And the American dream was made new. Suddenly, people became unified in the purchase of t-shirts, caps, stickers, posters, pins, songs, limited edition commemorative plates, and never to be outdone, Obama fried chicken. All to prove how much we believed in hope. Then, the election became history, and change seemed slow and hope became harder. Suddenly, all the t-shirts disappeared. People forgot hope, forgot to believe in what they believed. We here, however, are crazy Swatis, Crazy enough to call Swarthmore our home, like we're crazy enough to call for change, and crazy enough to keep on hoping, no matter what they say or do to us.
Will our passengers please take their seats, please? Expediently. Their passengers out. Okay. Excuse me.
I told him to put the bullet in the Glock and blow the I told him to put the bullet in the Glock and blow the
Excuse me.
I wanna. I wanna. I wanna. I wanna. I wanna. I want to go. I want to go. I want to go. I want to go. Ding! Ding! Ding!
Everything okay? Everything all right? Okay.
Is everything okay? Is everything all right? Is everything okay? Is everything all right?
Excuse me. Good evening, hi, and welcome to our in-flight flight. We have some beverages and things to offer you. We have lightly salted and honey roasted. Would you like some peanuts? Okay, can have some of this. Excuse me, hi, welcome, and if you'd like to take a, would you like some peanuts or honey roasted or some? Here, why don't you guys can share that. And excuse me, hi. I saw you with your hand up earlier. Oh, excuse me. Hi. Welcome to our. Do you want some? You can have them in your hands, or here. If you can take some in there, and I'll give you that plate there. If you want some, do you want here? Why don't you take? I'll come back with the peanut. Ding. Excuse me. Hi. I saw that you wanted maybe some peanuts. If you'd like, you want this. Some, would you like some, if you have some peanuts, then maybe a little bit later on, you can, we'll come back for you if you'd like another plate, but if you want some snacks for the meantime. Go.
I want to go. I want to go. I want to go. Oh, I want to go.
Okay, Ross.
Yeah, Ricky.
Let's take off.
Okay.
face of death under masthead. Hold your breath through late-breaking disaster. Makes the news of the track. Codes, feelings meant to be global, like coke in the nose of the noble. Keeps it alive. Riots and the race is on fire. And the music tanks with no red lights inside. Got you crying, oh why, oh my, my. Gold is another word for culture. Needs to find the air of the vulture. This bird can barely fly.
Ding.
Ding. Ding.
Ding.
Ding.
Ding.
Ding.
Ding.
Ding.
Ding.
Ding.
you lift yourself into the suitcase, please? No, your pelvis needs to be lower, closer to me.
It's low. I don't think there's any more room.
There's plenty of room. How does that feel?
Not good.
Can you get this shoulder in a little bit further?
Ouch.
Does that hurt less?
Yes, it hurts more. Oh. I think that's good. You got to use some biceps.
There.
Everything okay?
Bear with me a second because I need to get over that for... and I particularly need to get over that because I arrived on campus many years ago now with an unkept afro out to here. And my given name is Rowan Ricardo Phillips, but everyone in my family and everyone at Swarthmore soon came to know me as well as Ricky. And like any young Swarthmore man who needed to know about the world and needed to travel the world, I, of course, went to Bryn Mawr. And at Bryn Mawr, at a dance party, I went to Hunter High School. I'm from New York, and there were, all over the summer, I was hearing that I needed to meet someone named Abigail Chen, who was going to Bryn Mawr from Bronx Science. I finally met Abigail Chen at a Bryn Mawr party, and we danced the night away. And Abigail Chen looked shockingly like a certain flight attendant that we just saw on stage. So aside from being a wonderful performance, I really wish that instead of please stand by, there's a sign that said maybe ce n'est pas un pipe, or, you know, this is not your life, or don't worry about it. It was very unsettling, and it's a very tough act to follow. Bill spent all afternoon complaining. Those of you who know Bill, I'm just getting to know Bill now, but I get the feeling that he's a grade A complainer, and I say that with a lot of love. Was complaining about having to follow the musical act, which was wonderful, but I certainly feel as though I also got the short end of the stick. But I love this. I love tough acts to follow, especially when you're coming home, and I certainly consider this to be home. Tough acts to follow means that there are people coming after you and really pushing the envelope, really making good art, making you really want to make your art better. I love that. I was also raised to believe that pressure makes diamonds, and a lot of diamonds come out of this place. So with that, President Chopp, when I first arrived on campus, I think that President Bloom was just starting the second year of his tenure here as president of the college. I would like to dearly thank you for continuing what seems to be a tradition of bestowing upon the college a president whose last name is a verb. And as a poet, yes, as a poet, I feel as though the search committee must have been comprised entirely of poets, because that's exactly what a poet, any insane poet in their right mind, would do. And how wonderful, where else but this place of learning nestled in a arboretum among the trees and flowers and plants would be going from Bloom to Chopp. This feels so beautiful and necessary and natural. I'm looking forward to maybe 40 years in the future being at the inauguration of President Extrapolate, or something of that. But all joking aside, actually I'm not joking, but I do, I wish you during your tenure a psalmic beauty. And I say that from the bottom of my heart. I don't come back very often, but when I do, I realized that this place is not Mars. I thought it was Mars when I first came here. I turned down Yale to come here. And I really thought that I'd landed on Mars. but it's strange how quickly Mars feels like home. It's also strange how certain scents and sensations stay with you. Among them, for me, the color red. Spiro Agnew thought he was denigrating this place when he called it the Kremlin on the crumb, but we embraced it. We embrace a color that's not red, it's not burgundy, it's garnet, it's difficult to describe. And verbs, of course, are what? They're the mind's way of making sense of action. A great, great poet, the rapper Big Daddy Kane, said that I'm so full of action, my name should be a verb. You don't have to worry about that, fortunately, because your name is a verb. But many of us do have to worry about that. James Baldwin was one who did worry about that, and during tough, tough times, and these are tough times now, he wrote that action is the only testament to moral behavior. And in that way, action is hope's cagey cousin, isn't it? No? It's its diastole to the systostole that is hope. Just in the same way that action is what has to come after poems. Poems exist to lead us to act, not react, but to take charge. And so I wish you, again, not just a tenure of psalmic beauty, but a tenure that's filled with its own music and dance and poetry. I write, I see some of my old professors here. I never get nervous. I don't know if that's a biological defect or I'm just dumb, but I don't get nervous, but I'm very humbled to be reading in front of some of my past professors. And they taught me, among other things, what Billie Holiday was getting at when she said, you know, you don't have to explain, just come in from the rain. So I'm not going to explain this poem. I'm just going to read it. I wrote it for this occasion. I wrote it for you. I will give you a little footnote. There's a word at the end of the first stanza, torres. A torres is a classical guitar, a Spanish guitar. It's a metonymic replacement in the same way that Band-Aid is not a Band-Aid, it's a brand name, and Q-tip. So a torres is a classical guitar. Human resources. Blue is the color of the sunrises on Mars. And blue is the color of the sunsets on Mars. For 20 minutes, more or less, it seemed so great, my happiness. It brought me Martian joy. For blue was a blue perfection, all cyan, sun, and strangeness, the trail of a blue flash across the hinge of the horizon. The plateaus, all the ultramarine of Yeats's discolored mountain scene, a blue thought in the burgundy, like a blue note coaxed from a tortoise. The spirit of wine assumes a fine sky blue color, is the first recorded utterance of the sensation of sky blue. Before that, sky blue was simply sky, as in, the spirit of wine assumes a fine sky color. Those were murkier times, when the god of war could shepherd the lost, though mute from thirst to water. The world became and passed away under a shifting veil, and long after, before long, all the poets were cast off to Mars, to muse on the earth as morning star, and hope it stands for hope. Thank you.